Hello again, this is Tier 1 Games. We're going to take a look today at the newest pack for Star Wars LCG, or Star Wars the card game, and this is the first pack in the Alliances cycle called Allies of Necessity. So we're going to break this down into two videos. We're going to take a look at the dark side, and then in the other video we're going to take a look at the light side just to sort of break these apart because there's a whole lot of new things going on here. So the coolest thing so far, which was previewed from Fantasy Flight, was that we're going to be getting some new identities, not new factions per se, but new identity cards for the factions, which actually have some new abilities, which will of course impact how deck building is going to happen going forward, with a bigger focus seemingly on multi-factioning. And providing some other benefits too. So we're going to take a look at the new identity cards real quick. We'll start with Sith, work our way over to Scum and Villainy, and then head over to Imperial Navy. So we're going to get two new identities per faction here as well. So on the Sith side, zoom in here for you guys. So we get Galactic Enforcers, so we still get one resource. Key thing here, so this decides to zoom in. There we go. So your objective deck must contain exactly 6 Sith objectives and exactly 6 Navy and or neutral objectives. So this is basically combining again Sith and Navy or some neutrals. So 12 sets, which is going to bring you up to 60 cards, which is a little bit more. You know, the standard or the minimum is 10, so most people tend to gravitate towards that. But to counteract that, though, your starting reserve is 7, and of course Sith and Navy, there's a lot of ways where you can even increase that a little bit further, so you're drawing more cards per turn. So that's not necessarily a hindrance here then if you build correctly for your 12 sets, but it does have to be exactly 12 sets essentially. The next card, which we'll zoom out a little bit here, take a look. So also Sith, as you'll notice right away, 2 resources, which is unheard of. That's brand new. This one's called Expendable Allies. So this one's pairing up with Scum and or neutrals. This one is a little bit more standard. Here they're saying 5 Sith objectives and exactly 5 Scum and or neutrals. So just the 10 set minimum here, but no more than that as well. But the trade-off is you get 2 resources from your identity card. So, some interesting things that will be possible with that. Moving over to Scum and Villainy, here we got one called Promise of Power. 1 resource, reserve is still 6, so let's see what we got going on though. So 5 Scum and Villainy objectives and exactly 5 Sith and or neutrals, but it gives you a special reaction. After you refresh, remove 1 focus token from a target unit you control, so that's pretty neat. And the other one, also 1 resource, but here again our starting reserve is going to be 7. Now that's pairing up with Navy, so it's called Imperial Contractors, which of course fits with the Bounty Hunter theme. So 6 Scum objectives and exactly 6 Navy and or neutral objectives. So again, this is another one of those 12 set identities, which is going to be the theme here. Moving over to Navy, we got Dark Masters. This is another one, 5 and 5, so pairing up with Sith or neutrals. And again, like before, refresh, remove a focus token from a target unit you control. Okay, and then the other one, which, as if Navy needed more resources, called Any Methods Necessary. And interestingly, also just 5 Navy objectives and 5 Sith, or not Sith, Scum and Villainy and or neutrals. Still reserve at 6, so giving Navy reserve of 7 would probably be pretty bonkers considering some of the builds that are out there right now. So those are the identities, so we're going to get those out of the way real quick. And we're going to take a look at the objectives, the dark side objectives that we get in this pack. So there's only 2. We get 2 copies of each, of course. So we're going to take a look at Navy first, just because I really enjoy playing Navy. So it's the same objective, again, 2 copies of it, and this is bringing in some flavor from Rogue One. So the objective set name, so immeasurable power, 5 damage capacity basically on it as normal, 1 resource. You'll notice it's located at Scarif. And reaction, after a trooper unit you control is destroyed, put a unit named Death Trooper, which is going to of course be in the set, into play from your hand. This is going to be, I think, ridiculously powerful considering how strong a good Navy trooper build already is. So it's going to make it a little more interesting, or a little tougher maybe to squeeze these two sets in, but as we'll see when we look through this objective set, I think it's going to be well worth it. So again, keyword triggering off of trooper, and there's so many good troopers. So card number 2, the man himself, Director Krennic. Cost of 4 resources, not a problem for Navy most of the time. 3 force icons, which helps, and his combat is actually pretty neat here. His icons, so he's got a black tactics, and then edge enabled blaster, and another tactics. So pretty neat. Damage, he's got 3 damage that he can take. He's elite, as you might expect. And then a reaction. After a phase begins, spend 1 resource to target each unit you control named Death Trooper, so his guards from the movie. Until the end of the phase, each targeted unit gains, choose 1, Elite, Shielding, or Edge 1, limit once per turn. So, so if you can get a whole lot of his guards out, the Death Troopers, and you have the resources to spare, so whether it's combat on your turn or their turn, you know, you can really sort of tailor these troopers to basically deal with whatever you might be facing from your opponent. So again, elite, shielding, or edge 1, and it's those are all fantastic abilities. So and we'll see how that might play out when we get to the Death Troopers themselves here coming up next. So again, Krennic, and we get 2 sets of this, so 2 copies of Krennic seems really good. Death Troopers, which make up, as we'll see, so just do some rearranging here. So as you can see, we get 3 Death Troopers taking up slots 3, 4, and 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 3, 4, and 5 in the objective set. So if we played with both, which you would probably strongly consider, that's 6 Death Troopers, which we can gear up to do all kinds of crazy stuff. So again, they all cost 3. They can take 3 damage. Really good combat icons, Black Blaster, Black Blast, and another Edge enabled blaster. Now if you remember, if you are a trooper player, there are all kinds of other characters like Mach and so on, which can buff your troopers to even greater levels of efficiency. So these guys could get quite scary. They're characters and troopers, which are some interesting combinations there. And if we can get this to zoom right here, there we go. They can all, they only have 1 ability, not that they need more, but they protect Krennic. So Krennic becomes just that much more survivable. All these guys can soak up damage for him, so you can block with Krennic and, you know, tactics people, or swing in with Krennic, tactics people, and then these guys can soak up the damage for him. And again, Krennic can buff these guys with elite. They all have 2 force icons, so sometimes committing these guys won't be a bad idea. Shielding, of course, so they're going to stick around even longer, or edge 1 if you really got to push through those and get those wins in the combat phase. So those are, again, 3 in each objective set. And then the last card in the set, because again, Navy needs more resources. It's called Assembly Area, costs 2, provides a resource, enhance your play area, reduce the cost of the first trooper unit you play each turn. Oh my. Oh my. So Navy in a trooper build just got even more gas. You could have 2 of these out. It does not appear to be unique. So if you had both of these out, your first Death Trooper could come out for 1. This makes a lot of the other troopers out there in the decks just come out that much faster, and you still get to use its resource. So this is just simply a fantastic set. This is going to definitely be another huge boost to Navy and troopers. But again, this could see all kinds of play in other sort of combinations with Sith and or Scum, just depending on how you're going to build here. So there's a whole lot of new thinking that has to go into deck building now with these new identities. So, but absolutely fantastic set, very, very strong. So Imperial's definitely got some good stuff there. So, and again, we get 2 of those. All right, now moving on to Sith. We get a set, and again, 2 copies of this. We call it Rogue Archaeology. So does not have a specific location, 5 damage as normal, 1 resource, and our reaction here, after you play a non-Sith card, so this is probably going to be one you're playing with a fair amount of neutral sets and or other factions with the new identities. So again, after you play a non-Sith card, place 1 shield on a target objective, limit once per turn. So definitely great for defensive purposes. Sith control, of course, is still really strong, isn't really going anywhere. So let's take a look at the rest of the set here, so we'll get that out of the way. What do we get? Alright, so we get Dr. Aphra, so really cool artwork there. She costs 4, has 2 force pips, lots of combat icons, a black blaster, black tactics, and then some edge enabled icons. We got another blaster and a blast actually. She's a character, 3 damage capacity, and seemingly this is going to be one that you want to play with Scum. Let's get zoomed in here. So Scum resources provide a resource match for this card. So this goes pretty well, obviously, with that. And she has another action that she can take. During an engagement, focus this unit with 2 focus tokens to put a droid keyword unit from any discard pile into play as a participating unit on your side. If that unit is still in play at the end of this engagement, place it on the bottom of its owner's deck. So, wow, that is a strong ability. So just for those who aren't, of course, maybe too familiar with everything in the game, so this can get things like an IG-88 out of a discard pile, and there's a couple of versions of IG now that are all very strong. There's also a couple of different combat droids, I think, of various types in the Scum sets. There's a few random Sith ones as well. But more importantly, you could nab something annoying like 3PO from the Rebels player and bring him into play on your side, and just do all kinds of other little shenanigans like that. So R2, of course, I think still counts as a droid keyword. So there's all kinds of neat little tricks that this Dr. Aphra could pull off. So this is actually a really neat character, I think. Of course she's unique, so just in case I didn't mention that. So what does she actually come with here in her set? So let's spread this out a little bit. So there we go. Alright, so let's take this in turn here. So only one other character slash creature droid here, unit essentially. So BX series droid commando, 1 cost, 1 force pip, and droid, of course, so 2 icons. That's pretty neat for 1 cost. Blaster and a blast. Action. During an engagement, play this unit from your hand as a participating unit on your side, and it can take 1 damage. There's other new ways now, of course, with Scum to juice up your droids, so this guy could have some great potential, especially to be able to sneak him into combat. So again, that's very neat. And of course, depending on your needs and availability, if he's in the yard or the discard pile, the doctor could get him back. Then moving on, so her set comes with a resource card as well, called Secret Information. It provides a resource, it's an item, enhance your play area, and also provides influence. Okay, and then we move on to the 5th card in the objective set. So costs 1, 2 force icons. Really neat artwork there. So it's called Reconstruction. Action, return target droid unit from your discard pile to its owner's hand. So again, if some of your stronger droids that you have access to, again, if you're playing this as a hybrid deck or 2-faction deck with Scum, if IG-88 finds himself in the discard pile for some reason, pay 1 and get him back. Why not? This seems like it's going to be really good and really annoying for the other player to have to deal with. And we get another edge card here to round out the objective set, Allies of Necessity. You may target 2 participating units you control that do not share an affiliation. If you do, 1 unit gains a blaster, a black blaster, and the other gains a blast until the end of engagement. So, and it has 2 force pips as well for the edge battles. So that's pretty neat, pretty strong too. So you can really help customize your units for that engagement to give them what they need to hopefully push the right amount of damage through, maybe to kill a character or get that extra damage in against an objective. So really good set. Not I don't think like the sheer just power level that the Imperial set has, but this is going to do a lot of neat things, a lot of work, I think, once people figure out some good lists that deal with or combine Sith and Scum. Sith, of course, is still very strong, so combining it with some of the other tricks that Scum can provide now, and again, these other little benefits that we can provide via the new identity card. So that's again going to be some interesting new deck building choices. So dark side overall comes out very, very strong here. So no complaints. I would call this a 5 out of 5 for the dark side on in this first pack again of this cycle. So hope you guys enjoyed that. So sorry, I'll put that back in front of there. Overall impressions again very strong. Dark side definitely comes out a winner for this first pack. So as you of course might have noticed, there was no Scum and Villainy, or were no Scum and Villainy sets in this pack, but that's all right. We still got some neat tools that interact with them. So, so if you guys like this video, please give me a like, hit up a subscription if you could, and then check out our other video for the light side half of this chapter pack. Thank you.